I think the theme of the movie that really struck out to me was that, look, there are many ways to cut down a tree, and that monoliths are for aliens and not black people. So there's no such thing as a black monolith. And like, for instance, Sam Cooke, his whole essence was, look, I'm black, I love black people, but if we don't learn how to work with and take the secrets from white people, then how are we going to economically succeed after this? And
I
that was a perspective that Malcolm just was just like, I don't know if he didn't understood it, or he just didn't think that was the correct way to go about things.
yeah. And I think that's such a like I love that part too because it kind of taps into the whole music industry thing, and that's just a very relevant thing to me as an artist, and then to any other artist out there, and looking at the way the industry operates. I mean, even today, you look at the artists who are selected, for Double XL, who are put up on Billboard, etc. They're not artists who are sending a message. They're not artists who are singing "A Change Gonna Come." And like going back to the films, like Sam Cooke realized that. So he was working to kind of build this base, and he mentions right how he's um, employing and training these younger black artists, showing them the ropes, showing them the ways how to move in this white dominated industry that is just fundamentally built on exploiting black talent. And like you go back to the very beginning of the music industry, it was literally just these rich white people with no talent kind of taking these blues songs and their lyrics and then just tweaking them a little bit so that they have more radio appeal and not paying those artists anything. um, and I think that applies to anything just beyond the music industry too, and kind of like to uh, kind of bring it back to what we started talking about is like the presidency, for instance. Like, is it possible to infiltrate it? Like, is it possible for black people to infiltrate the music industry? My answer is I don't know. I mean, I don't know. And you look at what's been happening recently, it doesn't seem like it. And as of recently, there's been more and more of a push to like independent artistry and things like that. Um, but it does, you know, kind of echo exactly what you're saying. Like everyone has their role in this struggle, and Sam's was definitely not the same as Malcolm's, and it was not okay. I'm going to come out and um, just tear down the industry around me because it's simultaneously this industry that's holding me up. So there's this part of self-preservation as well.
I think self-preservation is actually a good way to think about it, but not in the terms of Sam Cooke, but in the terms of Jim Brown,
Mm.
because Jim Brown's persona in the pick was, look, I'm the NFL rushing champ. I've done movies. I understand my people are, this is just how I perceived it. I understand how that my people are struggling. Um, I can do what I can do. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think Jim Brown saw himself as, was my fight to fight, so to speak. I don't know if that came off the same way to you.
I felt the same way. I felt the same way, and it I like how at the end of the, how it ends the movie, and like at the very end, it goes to all the ways in which these men were impacted kind of by the conversations they had that night, and they
Mhm.
go back to their own lives and ultimately kind of take off in different directions from which they had been going before. And Jim Brown just retires, um, and then goes into a whole different field of work, I guess. Um, yeah.
You know what I find interesting is that what Jim Brown actually does was actually powerful in itself, is that he does the opposite of what Herschel Walker is doing now. So if anybody doesn't see, Herschel Walker, like Jim Brown in his own right, was a very good athlete for the NFL. He played running back for a number of years. I believe he also won the Heisman at the University of Georgia. And right now, he was recorded last week at a House hearing, arguing about how Black people don't deserve reparations and stuff like that. And I think I forget who says this, but it's something to say like, look, if you don't have anything to help a situation, don't hinder somebody else from trying to do what they feel like is right for them.
Right.
All right. Like Jim Brown, he doesn't agree with how Malcolm wants to proceed with fighting the struggle. But one thing Jim Brown, I don't think did historically, I wasn't alive back then, clearly. But one thing that I don't think he did, or what the movie portrays that he didn't do, was talk down on what Malcolm was actually inevitably trying to accomplish. And that's just as powerful. So like it's not everybody's not going to see their role in the fight just yet. And
I like that.
you have to kind of walk with them, just be like, okay, look, this is what we're doing. This is what we're doing. If you want to come. Um, but it's a whole nother thing when you're like trying to be detrimental to the people who are actually fighting like for their freedom.
Right. Yeah, you got to meet people where they are.
Yeah.
And that was one thing I like saw, last summer when we were marching in DC, for example, and like, you see people pitching in ways that aren't just, marching and like chanting. People are giving out water. People are giving out snacks. People are having just free masks or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost like I don't know. You get in where you fit in.